Call the meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Cedar Grove Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on bulletin boards in the district, published and/or transmitted to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Star Ledger newspapers, filed with the township clerk, and posted on the district's website. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Mandela?
Here.
Mrs. Dye?
Here.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Here.
And Mr. Sakala?
Here. The meeting is now open to the public for comment for items that are on the agenda. Hearing none. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Do we have any committee reports tonight?
Well, I don't know if they're committee reports, but Mr. Featherman and I were pretty busy this past week. As you know, we're looking for the community support on our $14 million bond referendum, and we had a road show last week, and we hit all the FSAs, Music Matters, and then last night they did at the high school for the open house for the 7th and 8th graders. So it's been a full week. The response and the feedback has been amazing. The video, if you haven't seen it, and any of the information, we have FAQs all posted on our district's website. But Mr. Featherman presented the plan. We had PowerPoint, and then we had the video, and it was just amazing. So it was a full week, and again, I wanted to thank, I did privately in our executive, but thank Mr. Featherman, the time spent away from his family, and Ms. Tevenier. They both attended all the meetings, and with Mr. Featherman giving presentations, like I said, they were long nights, but a lot of information was given, a lot of questions asked by the community, and like I said, very supportive. So thank you, and that was pretty much my week of meetings. But before there's any other committee reports, I want to welcome and congratulate Mrs. Dye, our fellow board member, for winning the election, and I'm glad to have you back for another 3 years. So that's pretty much my week, or the last couple weeks.
I'm glad to be back.
Do you have any
Glad I never
reports?
left. Well, even though I took a break from all the FSA meetings last week, and I appreciate you and your road show, so giving me a little bit of a break. I'll be back in January. I did attend a couple things. The first thing I attended was the Finding Kind movie, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because I actually asked Erica Slota to talk about it. It was a girls' night out at the middle school last week, and it was a movie about girls and how they treat each other. And I can think it kind of starts in the middle school and then it goes on throughout life. And it was really powerful. And I attended with my daughter, as a lot of parents did with their daughters. And I'm going to let Erica speak to it. But I just thought it was a great experience, and it was great for the kids. And it would be good if we could try to maybe expand upon it. I mean, it's the idea upon it is it's not just a one-time thing; it's a movement. And I asked Erica to kind of talk about it a little bit more. So I don't want to steal her thunder on that one, but it was great, and I'm glad that it happened. And it was the Municipal Alliance, right, that donated the funds so we could see the movie. So it was really great. The other thing is, last night I went to the 8th grade parent orientation, and let me be clear, it was the 3rd, not the 1st open house. But last night was a little bit different. It was more about freshman placement and a little bit less about what the high school has to offer, because I think we've kind of understand that it's a great place, and that they're going to do a little bit more in the spring. But this was, I thought, kind of educational as a parent of an 8th grader as far as what to expect and the steps and when things are going to happen, and depending on what classes they're in now and how they do is how they'll be placed in 9th grade. And it was great because the guidance counselors were there. Mr. Mangili, the principal, was there, Mr. Gallagher was there, Mr. Pearson was there, Mr. Gogarty was there, and I think I got everybody. So I thought it was great, and it gave us another opportunity to show the wonderful video about the bond referendum. So I thought that was very helpful. I also attended the rec board meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, and I only want to point that out because we have a new rec director. Her name is Marisa Landolfi. She was an assistant in Verona, and I've been going to the rec board meetings now for 2 years, I don't know. And it was just really great. I mean, obviously we all miss Ron, but there's somebody with a different vision, and so that's kind of great. And in her first couple weeks, she's already put the rec board on Facebook. She is already talking about switching up the Christmas tree lighting, which is December 1st, and, you know, having a DJ and doing a craft and popcorn and cotton candy, and maybe changing, instead of the kids doing a lot of times they do an ornament contest where they color in an ornament. She's actually thinking about doing having kids submit an essay on what Christmas means to them, which I think is kind of great. She's thinking about moving it to a Sunday next year. So just a lot of different ideas, which I think is great. She also talked about the ability to have online registration for you know, as far as signing up your kids for sports and stuff, which I think is kind of huge. So it's called Community Pass. So I just thought that was kind of great. And we also have a new member on the rec board. Jeannie Moreno is the new rec board member. She was interviewed by the town council and got the position, so we welcome her. And then at the same time, my last little bit of news, every year the rec board has they have a rec advisory board awards. And so they usually do it for an individual, and then they also do it to some kind of a group. And so this year, Ron Epp was recognized with the Rec Advisory Board Award for all of his years of service, and his family came to the town council meeting. I think it was on November 3rd, and they accepted a plaque on his behalf. And then the Cedar Grove Lacrosse Club was recognized as the club of the year because of all the work that they've done to kind of get the program off the ground, and specifically Kevin Brown and Jeannie, and they accepted the award, and there were a lot of lacrosse players in the audience, so it was kind of exciting. So that was kind of good news. And that's it.
Thank you. Looking forward to your committee reports for the next 3 years.
I'm looking forward to giving them for the next at least 3 years.
You have one too, don't you?
I have. I think
Oh, they do?
Mrs. Burke has some.
Oh, nice.
So, actually, Mr. Sakala and I, Mr. Featherman, amongst others, attended the Cedar Grove homecoming football game, and the class of 64-65 donated the sign for the Panthers' first coach, and it's beautiful, and the lighting is phenomenal. So that was a great event. A little cold. The crowd did leave as soon as the presentation was done. I went to the Memorial Middle School FSA meeting and stayed after the road show, went to the APT meeting. They're talking about field day for the end of the year, and there was a lot of discussion about what to do, but they're going to keep it at the middle school, and so they'll be outside, splitting up 5th, 6th, and 7th and 8th at the end of the school year on those half days. And if it has to be inside due to weather, they'll do an educational type scavenger hunt. So that went over very well. And the Treps Marketplace will be March 15th at Cedar Grove High School. And Treps is the program to create young entrepreneurs of our students. And so that's 5th through 8th grade, and there's an educational component of it. And they create their own business and buy their own product, and then analyze kind of what their profitability was at the end. So it's a great program. So that's happening there. And their next meeting will be January 5th at 7 p.m. And then here at North End, they had their meeting, what was that, Thursday the 13th, and there was a large crowd here, and I think it's because they do it every other month. Great support for the bond referendum video and some good questions from that. Their committees went through the series of things that they do, all the great things that they do for North End, and we appreciate all of that. They're very excited to hear about the district test score results, so we can expect that community here on December 2nd. And they were all asking for things that they can do to help the bond referendum pass, which was awesome. And the flyers that came home, everything that came home was great because it was very impactful. And their next meeting is January 8th. And then Mr. Mandela and I were both at The Miracle Worker on Saturday afternoon at the high school, which was a great theatrical play. The one thing I just want to comment is it's so nice to see that there's different children in different roles on different days. So it really opens up the performance to all kinds of talent and for kids to really get that opportunity. So it was beautifully done.
Very much so. Very
you never
much
know
so.
what you have an expectation for a play, but they just do such great work. So it'll be awesome in the new auditorium.
And that was almost a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
It was over 2.5
They broke it up.
hours.
With the intermissions, it didn't feel that long.
Yeah, and I asked, and apparently that's how the original play was written, so that's why there was
They kept it that
they
way.
kept it that way. So it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Thank you. Mrs. Burke? I attended the South End FSA meeting, I guess it was Monday evening, and they're getting ready for their winter performances. The concert is coming up. Unfortunately, I left my notes home, but I'll report back on our first meeting in December. I think it was December 12th, but I'll let everyone know. Mrs. Obendorf was there, and she was telling everyone, giving a report on how the children were coming along with their rehearsals, and she is looking forward to it. Mrs. Martin also attended, and she was talking about the things that she's doing to decorate the auditorium and also to get ready for her art shows at the end of the year. And I have those dates, which I'll report back as well. The South End has their big fundraiser this year, and they've decided that the fundraiser that they're going to do is a non-event event. So they're going to do more of a reach out and do set a goal. They have a goal in mind. They know what they want to raise. They know what they want to spend it for, and they're going to kind of do, like if you get letters from your college that you went to, just making appeals to people to donate money, and they're going to use a heart symbol. If you donate, you get a heart, and they're going to make a giant heart outside of South End School, and they sell enough hearts, they'll raise enough money to do what they want to do. So they're talking about ways to reach out across the other schools to help them out with that, since it is the major fundraiser, and all schools contribute to the major fundraiser. So they have some good thoughts. I said they put a lot of thought into it, and they think this is the best way to go, so they're going to give it a try. And that is on the heels of the Harlem Wizards, and that might be the reason why they went that route, because they did so well with the Harlem Wizards. They raised almost $6,000. So they have that as a fallback position, I guess, and although they're not considering it a fallback position, I kind of took it as one, but they think they're going to do very well with what they're planning. So that's what's on the horizon at South End in terms of what they're looking at. And they also were very supportive of the referendum, and they've offered me a lot of support, and I'll pass some of their names on to the committee so we can get them involved.
I also was at the Memorial Middle School Music Matters meeting, and their holiday concert is going to be Thursday, December 11th. Do I have that right? And it's going to be at the high school, which is phenomenal, in the auditorium at the high school. So I think it's just going to be a totally kind of new experience for the audience and the students. So everyone's looking forward to that as well.
Any further committee reports? Okay. We have 3 board presentations this evening. So first, we'll go in this order, Mr. President? Okay. Our first presentation is regarding a gift from the Higgins Foundation, and we have Patty Koenig and Gail Tynan here to present. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is
I'm sorry, if I can just ask you, I know it's a little awkward, but if you can go to the microphone so the television can pick up your voice.
My name is Patty Koenig, and I'm very pleased to be here this evening. My fellow trustee of the Higgins Foundation, Gail Tynan, was unable to attend when the meetings were switched, the dates were switched. I'm here representing the Higgins Foundation. Georgia Higgins was a very active community member in her day. She was very active in Board of Education issues as well as local political issues. And in her declining years, she found some difficulty. She had no children. She found some difficulty in getting home health care or getting herself to physicians and so on. So with the help of my husband, Stuart, who was an attorney, she created a foundation our purpose is to make home health care accessible, especially in Cedar Grove. So we've been kind of busy doing that. So when we saw the opportunity to help fund the AEDs, the automatic external defibrillators, to have them on the field to protect our children from this killer that is probably the #1 killer in our nation, more than several cancers combined. Happens at all ages, it happens without warning, and the AED and trained people are the only way that can make a difference, and I know that from personal experience. So I'm very proud, and I'm kind of having a flashback. I went to first grade in this school. And as a young adult with young children, I attended a lot of board meetings. I was very active over the years, so it's kind of a fun evening for me as well. So I'm very happy to be able to present a check to fund the purchase of the AEDs. Hopefully they've already been purchased and we're just defraying the cost of that. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Pleasure. Thank you. Mrs. Tavernier, I'll pass this off to you. And from the board, thank you very much. I mean, it means so much to know that there are people in our community that care to help out with such a thing. And we started learning about the need for having these AEDs in the schools by the fields just over in recent years, and they are so important, and we are very, very grateful, and we thank you very, very much, and please send our thanks back to your foundation.
We're not going anywhere, so if the need increases, you can knock on my door.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next board presentation is by Erica Slota, who, as Mrs. Dye explained, is going to be discussing with us the benefits of the film Finding Kind that was shown at MMS. Welcome, Ms. Slota.
Thank you very much for having me. Mr. DeCourt is going to show you the fine poster that our Cultural Arts Committee portion of the FSA created for us. Just to give you some background, Mrs. Spiegel came to me I think very early on in the school year, and mentioned that there was this Finding Kind movie. She said it was about girls being mean to one another, and it automatically stuck out for me because how often do I have a bunch of girls in my office hashing it out and trying to figure out how to act appropriately in terms of how they treat one another. So it was definitely relevant. So we wanted to make it happen, and the Municipal Alliance, they're awesome. They're always so supportive, and they funded the movie, the program for us. The FSA donated some money so that we could go out and purchase some of the food that we had at the event. So to give you some information about the event itself, the movie basically it was about these two girls who I think were right out of college, and they set out on a cross-country journey to go and to interview a bunch of women, a bunch of girls about their experiences with other girls in terms of arguing, in terms of how they got along. Did they get along? How do they feel? And the movie, as Mrs. Dye said, was pretty powerful in the sense that there were some people, some women that they interviewed who were, 40s, 50s, who were still hanging on to something that someone might have said to them in like the 3rd grade, 4th grade. So it was really powerful. And then they also interviewed a bunch of men who kind of took a look at the girl issue and they were like, whoa, what's wrong with you guys? So it was pretty interesting. There was some humor to it. And the main idea was not, it wasn't really about their words per se. It was more about the message. It was about the feeling that you had after the fact, after watching it. Of course, as soon as I saw popcorn in the room, I was a little bit nervous that we were going to lose all the kids and they were going to be going to get the food and the drinks. But I mean, I would say, for those who attended, they were focused. They sat down and they enjoyed themselves. And I was really happy about that. And after the fact, we had, after the movie was over, we had 2 8th grade girls come up, Abriel Gill and Nicole Kelly. And they were superstars. They came up there and they were willing to share their story, their own stories about being a bystander, being someone who might, protect, stand up for one of their friends. And in the other case, one presented an experience where she didn't stand up for her friend. And they were very open, and I think they were pretty well received. And then I got up and I told a story from my point of view in terms of why I had invited the parents to come to this event. I talked about my mom and something that she had taught me a long time ago, and how it became relevant to me in my life a few years down the line. And I think it was a pretty positive event. We had roughly 150 people. That included moms and daughters. We had I'm trying to look right here. Included in that population of 150 people, I do have to say one other thing. We had an administrator there. We had a board member there. We had the FSA there. We had the Municipal Alliance, a few members came. We had a couple of staff members who came. So we were really able to get a whole group of people together in one setting to be a part of something that was so super important, is so super important to our schools. And for that, I know that as a staff member in this district, knowing that I have the support with some of the events that I put together from all of these people, it means the world to me. I know it meant the world to those 2 girls who got up there and knew that they were talking to not only just their friends, but talking to the community. And I know it meant the world to, the Municipal Alliance to see that they were able to fund something so powerful. So what we're doing now with this, I can tell you the effects of it are amazing. I've had many girls in my office since the event who have come up to me, and they're opening up and they're willing to talk to me more about some of the things that are going on. I know that the 2 girls who got up and spoke that night, they've been like a focal point for all the girls. They've gone to them, they've asked them questions about things. I've had some girls come up and they were like, "Oh, Miss Loto, you don't really have that poster." And I was like, "Oh yeah, come to my office, it's there." And they point out where they've signed and such. And what we're doing is, I wanted to tie this in somehow to this new program that we have, is a Panther Praise program, where students are, when they do something outside the box and they do something really positive, the teachers all have these tickets. Yeah, these tickets, whatever you want to call them. And when they do something really positive, the teacher fills one out for the student. They explain to them, "Hey, listen, you're doing something really awesome. Here's this ticket." We gather them in the office, and at the end of every month, we put their names out on this board. And this was a good segue into that program, because now the girls know, okay, well, I know what the right way, how to act appropriately. I know how to do X, Y, or Z. And now, if I do those types of things, people are going to notice, and we're going to recognize them for that. So it was a great program. I am trying to see how we can fund us having that video again, that DVD again. You pay $500 basically, and then you have to give it back in 24 hours. Wow. I mean, it was a great program. That's the only downside. So if we can somehow fund it again, that would be awesome. I'll see what we can do, and then maybe show it to all the girls in the school. I think that would be great, and then hopefully find something for the boys to watch. It might not even be bad for the boys to watch too, to be honest with you, because I know there were a couple of dads who were there, and they were like, "I'm going home to my sons. I'm going to talk to them about the way they treat the girls and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, hey, sounds good to me. So again, I appreciate, the support and the opportunity to talk about it, and I definitely appreciate you coming in and watching with your daughter. It meant a lot. So thank you. Any questions about it, or any questions for me?
I was just gonna, I believe it. When you said I thought it was something that you could rent, like go to the Red Box, or like I was gonna go watch.
Listen, you don't want to rent that from Redbox. Trust me.
You're a day late on that. The late
Yeah, done with the Redbox. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Worth every penny, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Definitely worth it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
I was like, wow, how do you rent this?
Okay, our final board presentation for the evening is regarding the MMS Summer Music Academy proposal. Ms. Imperator and Ms. Siegel are here. I know we heard from Ms. Imperator last year, the end of the school year about, or maybe in the middle of the semester last year. So we're excited to hear what's developed and where we're going. So, welcome.
Ms. Siegel's going to help me out. I'm just giving you guys a kind of an outline of what I'm doing because I discovered in the last meeting that it was probably a little bit difficult to follow just on the present. So I'm giving you a copy of the outline and also a copy of the projected most likely the stipend that we're going to be using, the budget that we'll be using for the program. So since I saw you in May, I have surveyed the parent community at Memorial Middle School. I have researched more summer music programs, including the Bloomfield Summer Music Program, which is going to be structured, which we're going to structure very similarly. And I've streamlined the process for a more balanced summer experience for our students. So that's what we're going over tonight. So the session refinements, the dates are exactly the same. It is still Monday to Thursday. We've broken it down into 2 sessions. So students will be coming either 8:30 to 11:30 for the morning session, or 12 to 3 for the afternoon session, or if they're doing full day, they'll be in school with us from 8:30 to 3 p.m. and they'll get a half-hour lunch break in between each session. Oh, and to just to reiterate, sorry, skip something. So students can only do 1 ensemble per session. So they can only do choir or only orchestra or only band. Just because it's a 3-hour time frame, if we start crunching things in, they're going to be missing a lot of those opportunities that they can really get into with each ensemble.
Wait, could you just repeat the beginning of that, what you just said? I missed it. Sorry.
Let me rewind that. They can only do 1 ensemble per session. So if they're doing AM, they can just do band or choir or orchestra.
Okay.
If they're doing PM, they can only do band, choir, or orchestra.
Gotcha.
So if they want to do full day, they have to do
They would do-
1 instrumental and choir.
Oh, okay.
We don't want them doing band and orchestra because A, that's a lot of money for renting an instrument, which the parents are responsible for that fee. And because the instruments are so vastly different at the very beginning, it is a huge challenge for them to overcome, and then they're learning 2 completely different languages, and we want it to be as easy as possible for them. They're not dealing with that early frustration of the instrument. So the way we're breaking it down, each 3-hour session has 6 30-minute classes. There's the lesson for instrumental or vocal technique. There's the sectional where students will be practicing their music for their concert, where just their instruments, so it's all clarinets or all treble ones or all violins, just practicing their music. They'll get a half-hour break in that time period because at very beginning stages, they don't have the physical ability to work for 3 hours straight. They just don't have the muscles to do that yet. They get a half-hour rehearsal. They get a half-hour of music games, which is, again, another break from actually physically playing their instrument, but they get the opportunity to engage in music in different ways. And we have a class called Practicum, which will teach practice techniques or how to study, or they will perform for their peers just to get over that social fear of performing for each other. It's like, let's just play. Let's just do something. Let's show each other what we can do. So the tuition cost, this has increased since the last time I was here based on the surrounding towns, and it's to remain competitive versus local programs. So it's going to be $400 for 1 ensemble, which is a half day, and then it'll be $600 per student for an ensemble, for an instrumental and choir, which again is the full day. And students can again either choose AM or PM. If they're doing 2 ensembles, then they'll do both the full day. And so into the program operations, how we're going to be financing all of it, that is the spreadsheet that we went over with Mrs. Renee and I. And we really streamlined everything. I was going to butcher your last name. I'm so sorry. I wasn't even going to try. So everything is in that spreadsheet, exactly how we're going to break everything down. We have 4 full-time instructors, which are current employees of the district included in there. We have 3 junior instructors, and all of our revenue is going to be coming from tuition costs. So registration is going to be completed entirely via Google Docs to eliminate the paper waste that comes with, oh, here's a piece of paper saying I'm signing up. We can do it all online. And that also eliminates the human error of, I lost your registration form, or I thought I handed it in. Mom and dad does it, they send in a check, and it's all done. The majority of the advertising is going to be digital, or digital via email or the district website, again, to eliminate that paper waste. I plan on putting up posters to advertise it. I plan on going around to the different ensembles in Memorial and in North End and South End for the 4th graders to get them aware of what's going on and get them excited and get them to go home and talk to their parents about it. I plan on having a wait list for current 8th grade musicians. So I was planning on having this be only future 5th grade to future 8th grade. But upon revisiting that, there is going to be a definite gap for the 8th graders. When they're going to high school, they're going to need that time within the program. So based on enrollment, we can't, I don't know how many students would be our absolute maximum, but I don't want to say no to students. So I'm very willing to waitlist those students, and if we have open space in our program, I would love to accept those 8th graders. Our staffing is completely flexible depending on enrollment. So for example, if we only get 20 kids to sign up for band for one session, I'll take a half day and I'll work part-time, and that reduces the cost and it will maintain the structure of the program. We have junior instructors on there. They will ideally be college musicians with their substitute teaching licenses. They will be responsible for getting through the fingerprinting process and TB and all of that stuff. Ideally, if they're CPR certified and all that stuff, they'll be responsible for that as well. But it's not necessity, but if they have it, that would be really nice. And junior response, oh, I said that already. How convenient. So going back to that survey that I sent out on October 14th, we had 101 responses and 80 of them were positive. So are you interested in a summer music program? 30 said yes. 21% said no. 49 said maybe. Let's see what's going on, depending on what is involved. Are you interested in sending to a morning or afternoon session? AM only, 51%, 22 PM only, and 27% both. And what ensemble is your child interested in participating in? 28% band only, 16% orchestra only, 25% choir only, 23% band and choir, and 8% orchestra and choir. So we do have a huge interest in band and choir at this moment, but we have the massive orchestra programs in the 4th grade right now, and they will be coming up into the school. And part of my big push for advertising it to the 4th grade is get your kids into the middle school when there's no one there, there's no pressure, get comfortable here in June and July, and so come September, no one's upset, there's no anxiety, there's no jitters, they already know the school, they've been there before. And any questions?
How many students?
I have one. It's it looks like it works out to be like a 3 or 4 week program.
It's a 4-week program.
Okay, you were right. It was 4.
It's that math skill.
When you registered, you have to register for all 4 weeks, or could you just pick up a couple?
That was something that we were talking a little bit about. It is, if students register for just the first 2 weeks, then they don't get the performance opportunity. And if students register just for the last 2 weeks, they're coming in halfway through, and it's going to be extremely difficult to integrate them at this time. I don't see that as being a possibility. If we have a huge number of people who say we can only register for the first 2 weeks or for the second 2 weeks, then I'm completely willing to change my plan based on the needs of the community. But going into it, I don't want to open up that can of worms yet, unless we have to.
On the difference between the morning and the afternoon, will you have, if someone is just interested in band, can they take band in the morning and band in the afternoon, or are there different ensembles going on at different times? Or is it even?
They could do that. It may be repetitive for them. And just as a sidebar,
choir is extremely important for musicians. And I know there is a little bit of a stigma against, I mean, we're working to remove that, but there is a stigma against boys being in choir. And boys, well, I don't want to sing. They all sing. We hear it in the hallways. They promise they do sing. It's just a matter of them just accepting that everyone sings. And musicians, it's so important for them to sing and to get comfortable with their voices. It's a part of your body. You're going to have it, hopefully, forever. So they just need to accept that. So I would recommend going in the direction of picking up a second ensemble. But if you want to do band and band, it would be 3 hours of reinforcement. If you want to think of it like that.
Thank you.
And do you accept students who it would be their first time picking up an instrument?
Absolutely.
Who might not have taken bands?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. My fifth grade ensemble, my fifth grade members this year have all brand new, all 45 of them brand new, and
Not necessarily fifth graders.
correct. And I've also
Okay.
accepted this year. I've accepted like sixth graders,
Right.
some seventh, and one eighth grader.
Oh,
You know, I don't want to exclude anyone, and I think it's a great way to kind of jump them into and get them a little bit more ahead of the game than they would be in September.
Okay.
You might have answered this, but what's the ideal number of students you wanted?
With the budget that I gave to you, there are about 80 students signed up. So ideally, if we have 80 students signed up, then we're in the positive, we're making money, and there's money to put aside. If for some reason we have 120 signed up, we can hire more junior instructors can help us with supervising.
But 80 is your goal.
Yes.
80 all day or 80 total?
So I base that number on the parent results that we got from the survey.
Okay.
So because it's 400 for one ensemble and 600 for two, I used a flexible calculation based on what those responses were.
This is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really excited about it.
This is amazing. Like, I think I've shared with you the first time you were here, my son was his background is all this, and the cost that I spent in his training throughout, him growing up. He's 20 now, but I started when he was 11. The costs were much higher. And, this kind of a workshop, I'll call it a workshop, whatever you want to call it, is unbelievable. You break it down for the 4 weeks, it's $150 for a full day.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, that's not even, this is amazing. This is a great program. And the way it's structured and everything is so clear.
I'm
It's
really
a great
excited
day.
about it, and just having sent out that survey and just kind of very easily just bringing it up in parent conversations. Everyone seems so excited about it.
And you didn't even talk to the fourth grade parents yet, you said, right? I know.
And I haven't even talked to those parents about those kids joining
You better
the
hit
band.
them now before they do stuff for the summer, because this is amazing. I think they'll jump all over
And
it.
it's a good way for a student to learn an instrument, not have to miss gym.
Yeah. No, this is
I have
great.
one. Can't miss gym.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anybody else?
No, it's a nice program.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We're
you.
continue to, want to hear about how it's going. and,
Yeah, for sure.
when we
I
start.
am looking forward. I'm going to be presenting this to the parents at the winter concert, and I'm going to have all the information done. I'm going to have
perfect.
everything up, because it's no better time when I have them all sitting
Exactly.
there in front of me. They
Absolutely.
can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I look
Thank
forward.
you.
Yeah, please send back
In the high
information.
school auditorium.
Absolutely.
Right.
Love it.
Thank you very much.
Right, absolutely.
Good stuff, good stuff. Exactly.
Okay, let's move on the agenda. From the Office of the Business Administrator and Board Secretary, under minutes, may I have a motion for B1 through B3? B1 is a motion to approve the public and executive minutes of October 21st, 2014. B2 is a motion to approve the budgetary transfers for the month of October 2014. And B3 is a motion to approve the board secretary certification to the Board of Education pursuant to the administrative code that no line item has encumbrances and expenditures which exceed the line item appropriation, a violation of the code. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. May I have a motion for B4 under bills? And that's a motion to pay the list of bills that were provided to us in our packet for November 8th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. Under business, may I have a motion for B5 through B12? B5 is a motion to approve the Cedar Grove Soccer Club's request to use the Middle School Media Center on November 22nd, 2014. B6 is a motion to approve the Cedar Grove Junior Women's Club to use the Cedar Grove High School cafeteria for their annual Breakfast with Santa on Saturday, December 6, 2014. B7 is a motion to approve the establishment of a processing fee of $25 to non-residents of the township to cover expenses associated with the application for a county substitute teaching certificate. B8 is a motion to approve the payment of $28,618.92 to the New Jersey Department of Unemployment. B9 is a motion to accept a pair of lacrosse goals graciously donated by the Cedar Grove Lacrosse Club. B10 is a motion to accept the donation by the Marek family of one green screen for production of media presentations, ACE classes, and other uses at Memorial Middle School. B11 is a motion to accept the donation by the Steinman family of one 55-gallon fish tank and one 29-gallon fish tank to be used in the science rooms in the 6th and 7th grade. And B12 is a motion to accept and prepare drawings and specifications for the installation of a fume hood on the first floor of the LRP building. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. From the Office of the Superintendent of Schools. It's all you, Mr. Featherman.
Thank you, Mr. Sakala. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that have been paying attention, I think there's something happening in Cedar Grove. And I couldn't be happier and more proud to be a part of what I'm going to call the movement. I mean, parallel to the Common Core invasion and preparations for Park and just literally changing the conversation K through 5 with our instructional materials and the Daily 5 Cafe and our youngsters talking about reading stamina and in close reads and just the instructional shifts that are going on. Parallel to that, we've got new music programs and a bond referendum. And just the outpouring from the community has really made an impression on me, on a lot of us. And so, to those of you out there listening and those of you that have been sort of walking with us, we thank you for that. Let's keep this going. I think this is an important moment for this community, and I can feel as though the breakthrough's coming, and that's pretty cool. It's beyond pretty cool, it's awesome. And we have a lot of people to thank for that, and as the days and weeks unfold, as the bond referendum passes, as music programs are launched, we'll have a lot of people to say thank you to along the way, and I assure you we will do that. So I'll start right now. Thank you in advance. The committee here stole my thunder. Most of what I have in my report, from the Miracle Worker to the Harlem Wizards and so forth and so on, is in this report. Copies are here for the public. Those of you that are here, it's posted online. Please take your time to visit. It's 10 or so pages long. It's chock full of the good things that are going on in each and every one of our buildings. I assure you it's a good read. I can't do it justice. Just a couple of the highlights. If there are any left, I don't know. You've heard about our bond referendum committee and how busy we've been. We're working towards, curricular shifts, restructuring our administrative team. We just recently concluded our interview process for our next instructional leader for Memorial Middle School. Stay tuned, don't go to sleep yet. There's a special announcement coming. And on the list goes. I'd like to just highlight congratulations to Michael Dugan at the high school on being selected as the Week 3 winner for the USA Football Heart of a Giant. Please go online at www.usafootball.com/Heart of a Giant to vote for Michael. He was nominated because of his heart. Congratulations, I have to say, to Mr. Cannella and Ms. Jessen for what really was a surprising, and I don't know why I'm still surprised by the work that they do, but as you had heard earlier, you just don't know. I think it was Mrs. Burke saying, you just never know what you're going to get out of each and every production. But each one of them seems to impress differently than the last. So to Brielle Ratty, who, don't you know, is auditioning for her next great work, couldn't be with us this evening. We hope to have her next time, giving her a high school report. And to the cast and crew of that wonderful show, it was a long show, but boy, it really didn't feel that way, did it?
Oh.
Just fantastic. Fantastic. The fall campaign of athletics is completed. Mostly successful. And we've all of the programs, save one, made a playoff run. Mr. Gogarty will be sharing with you along the way the successes of our fall campaign. And now we transition to winter sports. It's just right around the corner, wrestling and basketball and winter track and so forth. Memorial Middle School continues to lead the way with promoting the social domain, whether it's Red Ribbon Week, Week of Respect, putting together videos, again, talking tonight about finding kind. These are the things that exceptional communities do, and I think we're figuring things out. It's pretty awesome. South End and North End, what can I say about them? There are pages and pages here. Preparations continue now for the Thanksgiving recess and their programs, and now it's holiday concert season and all of the fun things that go along with this time of year. So thank you again. Talk with you soon. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Featherman.
Oh, that's it. Wow. That was a condensed version. I like that.
Under Personnel, may I have a motion for S1 through S14? And S1 is a motion to approve Mr. Featherman's superintendent report. S2 is a motion to retroactively appoint the staff members as listed in accordance with the state emergent hiring procedures. S3 is a motion to approve Nick Franciosa as part-time IT technician substitute at the rate listed therein for those dates listed therein. S4 is a motion to approve the substitutes as listed for the 2014-2015 school year at the rate of $90 per day. S5 is a motion to approve the extension of Alexandra Perry, high school short-term biology teacher, at the step and salary, prorated salary as listed therein. S6 is a motion to approve Kristen Orluna, South End maternity leave coverage, kindergarten teacher, at the step and salary prorated as set forth therein from the dates set forth therein. S7 is a motion to approve the superintendent's professional development plans for the 2014-2015 school year. S8 is a motion to approve a 3-week research study conducted by William Patterson University as explained in that item therein. S9 is a motion to reimburse the school-based volunteers as set forth therein for fingerprinting expenses. S10 is a motion to approve the school-based volunteers as set forth in that item. S11 is a motion to authorize attendance at the events as set forth therein, and the costs are also set forth in that item. S12 is a motion to approve the leave of absences as set forth in that item of S12. And S13 is a motion to approve the following students for classroom observation as set forth in that item. And that's where, sorry, I said S14, but we're stopping at S13. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. Under contracts for S14, may I have a motion to approve the following contracts as set forth therein for the 2014-2015 school year for special education students? May I have a motion,
So
please?
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. And although it's not on the agenda, we have an additional agenda item we're going to be adding as S15, and I will read the motion. S15 is a motion to approve Nicholas DeCourt as principal of the Memorial Middle School at MA Step 2 at a salary of $115,071 commencing November 19th, 2014 to June 30th, 2015, with the salary prorated as of those dates. May I have a motion for that item, please?
I'm proud to say so moved.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes, and thank you, Mr. DeCourt. Congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Now go get a vice principal.
Did you hear what she said? Now go get a vice principal.
At this time, I will open up the meeting to the public for comments for items that are on or off the agenda. Hearing none, close that portion of the meeting. Any final comments before the announcement of future meetings?
I have a comment.
Yes?
I guess more of a thank you, if that's okay. Is now a good time?
Now's a good time.
Well, if not, you're stuck with me for 3 years, so it doesn't matter. I just wanted to thank everybody for their support in my reelection, especially my fellow board members who all did an amazing job to help me. The town council and all their support, the parents, the community. I had just a lot of help from everybody, and it was truly amazing. Probably none of my friends are answering my calls right now, though, of all I asked of them over the last couple months. But this wasn't just about me being reelected. This was about the overwhelming majority of the community saying that they agree with what we're doing and that we're doing a good job. We're a team. We're not quite there yet, but we have a plan. And I just want to say that I truly enjoy being part of this team. And it's nights like this where we get to do amazing things like promoting, Mr. DeCourt to principal. That makes this an amazing job. And I truly look forward to serving the next 3 years with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a tear.
Be quiet. No, the salary for this job's amazing.
All right, let me do the announcements of future meetings first. Our next meeting is going to be December 2nd, 2014, here in the North End Media Center. Our executive session will be at 7 p.m. and 8 with the regular meeting starting at 8 p.m. And our last meeting of this calendar year will be December 16th, here in the North End Media Center, same time, 7 p.m. for executive, 8 p.m. for regular meeting. At this time, I would ask for a motion to adjourn to executive session so the board can discuss the items listed on the agenda under E1, which is a student matter relative to HIB. Action is not expected to follow the discussion in executive session. Due to the confidentiality of student matters, public release of this discussion will probably never occur. It's also a motion to adjourn to executive session for a personnel matter relative to collective bargaining agreements. Action is not expected to follow the discussion in executive session due to the confidentiality of personnel matters. Public release of this discussion will probably never occur. And finally, with regard to a personnel matter relative to candidates for employment, action may follow the discussion in executive session, but I think that we probably took care of that item already, right? So we'll leave that item off. May I have a motion to adjourn to executive session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes, this meeting is adjourned.